things ever in business is location. And as you can tell by my sign, it's one of the best locations in downtown Brooklyn. You're talking about Fulton Pond and DeKalb Street. This is Grand Central Station. This is the Times Square of Brooklyn. Come on, I want you to meet the best Chinese food you'll ever eat in Brooklyn. DeKalb Street and Flatbush Avenue Extension. Interesting thing is, it happens to be right down the street from us over at the CoLab-Factory. One very important piece of information is the DeKalb Market Hall opened up right after they did. Who knows how that affected their business. Also, they're sole proprietors, opening up this one Chinese food place in an uncertain time, in an uncertain location. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of tenacity to do that. So let's find out more about what they're doing. Let's meet them.
The way in Chinese means a flavor or to feed. So we kind of want it to be like a play on words, but also have some sort of like intrinsic meaning in the food industry in Chinese.
The star of this show are businesses, restaurants, entrepreneurs, freelancers, small businesses, large businesses. Those are the stars of the show. And these guys are the star of this show, Stan and Victor. So what brought you to doing a Chinese? Have you ever done a Chinese restaurant before?
So this is our first Chinese restaurant. We have partners who've been in the restaurant industry for a very long time.
Right.
But both of us were more of like a sales and marketing background prior to the restaurant. But kind of why we built the way was we saw this huge gray zone in the Chinese food industry. And it was like Chinese takeout, which, you know, we grew up eating too. You know, your typical Chinese takeout cuisine. And then there was these really fancy Chinese restaurants you get in Flushing or in Chinatown,
right,
which aren't necessarily accessible to like people outside the Chinese population. Sometimes you don't know which restaurants to go to, you don't know what to order when you get to those restaurants. And there's really not much in between them.
Right.
So we wanted to find a way to bring traditional cuisine from these like fancy restaurants into a more modern setting that, you know, our generation speaks to.
Right.
You know, with music that we've grown up listening to, in a place that we want to hang out, sit and hang with our friends. But conceptually, that's kind of how the way was built.
Got it. So it was a pure business decision based on good Chinese food in a location that thirsted for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Which, by the way, I'll vouch for. This is awesome Chinese food. On the awesome factor, it's kick-ass. It actually has a kick-ass of 10 kick-asses out of 9. That's how good the Chinese food is here. But let's talk about this. How scary is it to go from sales and marketing to the restaurant industry? You guys are, it's basically like, you know, going from the car business to the computer business, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that. Was it a little nerve-wracking? Was it a little scary? I mean, who signed? Did you guys have your names on the lease? On the lease? Who's on the lease?
We are on the lease. Yeah, we're on the lease. So we, you know, everyone put money in. It is scary opening up a brick and mortar one, but also, you know, an industry as competitive as the food industry.
Sure.
Especially in New York City.
Right.
It's quite competitive.
So let's talk about that. You're in downtown Brooklyn, which to me, downtown Brooklyn is the most explosive neighborhood in the country right now.
Right.
And when I say explosive, business, social, everything. We've got everybody from everywhere doing everything right now. It's really very exciting.
Yeah.
So what a great choice to be on the corner. But right on your heels of opening, they opened DeKalb Market Hall, which, by the way, not taking anything from DeKalb Market Hall. I'm very happy they're here. I think the neighborhood's happy they're here. But how did you, being restaurateurs, which is what you are, how did you feel about hearing about DeKalb Market Hall before and after the opening?
I think any brick and mortar restaurant, you know, when you find out there's 40 food vendors coming to your neighborhood, let alone across the street,
right,
it's scary. You know that to some extent they're gonna pull people, they're gonna pull mouths. But at the same time, the goal is to grow this neighborhood. And anything that can help make downtown Brooklyn a destination faster is, you know, it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, it's a collective that we have to work together to try to build this neighborhood into something greater than it is now. And that's why we chose down Brooklyn to begin with. You know,
Right.
we knew that it was on this precipice of explosion. You know, culturally, not really food-wise yet. You know, we kind of wanted to get in the door before the food explosion.
And you did.
happened.
And you did. You got here right before the TNT blew up.
Right. So, you know, that's something we all have to do together.
Right.
You know, and it's here.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're dealing with it, and every day is better. You know, you keep growing as the neighborhood grows with you, and then you see where it goes.
So I couldn't agree more. Just as I feel WeWork is good for co-working, people ask me about that all the time, and I think the more people that know about co-working and shared offices, the better it is for my business as an independent. And I think that the more the merrier. You know, having Boqueria down the block, having DeKalb Market Hall brings more people to the space looking for food, and maybe on the way they pass by the way,
Right.
and they find themselves in here, because one thing's for certain, I don't care who you are, where you're from, you're always going to want really good Chinese food. So what are what are some of the current challenges you guys are finding being now an open business? Because getting open is a big, there's trials and tribulations and hurdles, and sometimes you never think you're going to open, right? Getting to the point of opening is an unbelievable mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize to be a startup, because what you really are is a startup business. You guys are a startup, you know, Chinese restaurant, which again, I can't say more how amazing the way is. Chinese food is, period, the end. I mean, basically people from China to have the way is food. That's how good it is. That was artistic license, but still true. So as now going from the startup stage, which is what you were in, the uncertainty stage, which you passed, and now you're in open for business, and been so for several months. What are the new challenges as a business that's thriving?
I think for us, it's pretty standard, like restaurant challenges. One is just like we're definitely a little weather dependent. You know, when if it's too cold, or if it's too hot, if it's raining, or if it's snowing.
People don't come out.
People don't come out. You know, but you know, our deliveries will go up a little bit if that's the case.
Right.
We're really close to LIU, which is amazing for us when school's in session. But it's summer right now, so it's a bit slower. But it'll pick up again for us, you know, late August.
I like to say New Yorkers and Brooklynites are the busiest, lazy people I've ever met. In that we work really hard, but once we're done, we don't want to move.
Right.
And that's why things like Grubhub and Grubhub are amazing. I think that as a consumer of delivery, I use Grubhub all the time in the office. Do you feel that Grubhub has enhanced your business, or Grubhub and all the other Seamless and all these?
Yeah. So delivery definitely, you know, it's great. It's a way of hitting, you know, alternate method of revenue that you just didn't have access to before.
Right.
You know, people that didn't want to come out and eat, they could try your food. So it's just a way of reaching more customers when you had no access to them before.
Right.
Some people just don't want to go to downtown Brooklyn because for whatever reason, you know, it's hot, or you know, so they can just order delivery and it shows up at their door. So it's definitely been a huge bonus for us.
All right. And do you have, if there's anything you could say to anyone about the way, what would it be? Say it right there.
Wow, no, you first.
Well, I'll say it. Located right here on the corner of Flatbush Avenue Extension in DeKalb is the finest Chinese restaurant this side of China. And that's all I have to say about the way. And the owners, now that you're meeting the owners, the men behind the business, you know that it's coming from an organic, wholesome, courageous, integrity-filled place. Not just some two guys that are making Chinese food to make it. They really give a shit. They really care about the food they're making. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think that was perfect.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Couldn't have said it better.
Here's what I would say if I were them. Come to the way and eat as much as you can. Thanks for watching.